And I'd like to welcome my two guests here, Brian Pallister and Jimmy DiNardo of Antix. How are you guys?
Not bad, and you?
Not too bad. To start things off here, I'd like to get to who came up with the name and what does it mean exactly?
Well, the name was basically just a name that we had on the list, and we were just collecting names over the weeks, and then when it came time to select one, Antix just sounded good. And it just means clowning around, good time, and that's what Antix tries to do.
Does everybody get along with each other in the band? Is there any problem?
We all hate each other, but we're binded by contract. So for the next 2 years, we're going to be with each other. No, we all get along famously, so there's no problems.
How about family and relationships and stuff like that? Does it ever interfere?
Constantly. No, but you gotta have, if you got girlfriends, if you got family, they gotta be extremely understanding. Because
and they're all pretty supportive to you guys.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. I noticed that the band is starting to get a lot of publicity, and I was wondering if you're going to start playing some bars in Montreal or Toronto.
We got a new album coming out, which is going to be called Our World and Welcome to It. We're going to have a video with that, and we're hoping to expand our audience with that video by having it played on Much Music and television stations
MTV
out of town, and that'll hopefully build up our audience so it'll be more worthwhile to go out and play out of town.
Have you ever thought about playing any non-alcoholic bars, such as Astrolite, One Step Beyond?
I've never been approached for the Astrolite. We were approached once for One Step Beyond, but the place is a little bit too small to accommodate what our stage show is.
So true. Tell me about your new guitar player here, Brian Pallister. Since is he working out?
He's working out. The only problem we have with him right now is that
he
insists on wearing those boots. So that's our only no.
Where'd you find him? Did you put an ad in the paper or something?
Yeah, there was an ad in the paper, and he answered it. And actually, he was the first guy to come out and audition. We were originally looking at some guy in Toronto, but when he came down, we were impressed with him, and we said, we'll stick with an Ottawa guy because it'll save us the hassles of having a guy move into town.
What was the reason for Dennis Cameron's work, who earlier played on the earlier mini LP, Baptism of Fire? I was wondering what was the reason for his dismiss?
Well, let's not call it a dismissal. Let's just say that we grew apart, and he was going in one direction, and the three of us were going in another direction, and it was just time to say, well...
He went his way and you went yours. Do you talk to him still nowadays?
I haven't talked to him since he left the band.
No silent wars between you guys or anything, is there? Or?
I really don't. I couldn't say. I think he's a great guitarist. I'm sure he's going to be back with another band sometime. But other than that, let's just say I don't waste my time thinking about him, because it would be pointless to be thinking about him, because we got to go on. And that's what I concentrate on.
And Brian, tell me a bit, did you find any difficulty learning Dennis Cameron's work on Baptism of Fire?
Not really. We basically play the same style of music, so I just kind of slipped right in. It's pretty...
Have you, I was wondering if you've ever taken any type of guitar lessons or guitar training?
Not really. I started, I took one guitar lesson, I think it was when I was 7 or 8, and that was the only lesson I've had, that one lesson.
So you basically made your own style?
Yeah.
And are you happy with your work?
Yeah. I'd like to do better, but so would everybody else.
So does everybody.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like for a guitar player, who are your guitar influences?
I'd have to say that my biggest one would be a George Lynch from Doc.
George Lynch, really?
Yeah.
What was the financial part, Jim, of completing Baptism of Fire? Was there any difficulty in...
Big financial part.
Yeah.
There was no difficulty. We planned it. We knew what it was going to take to do it. And we put the money together through any venue that we could. Legal venue that we could.
Roughly how many copies did you sell of that?
We've closed in on 700 copies.
700, really?
Yeah. A lot of people have ripped us off, but hey, I'm not going to complain as long as they're hearing the music.
And the single you put out a couple months ago, when was that? In the summer, I guess it was?
Yeah, it was released in July.
What was the feedback on that? Like, it was Looking Like Dynamite, and on the flip side, Somewhere in My Heart.
Yeah, that went over really well. A lot of people were glad to see us do Somewhere in My Heart, which is a ballad.
Tell me a little bit about that song. Was that you that wrote all the lyrics for that?
Yeah, I wrote all the lyrics. That's basically a song about a rock and roll relationship, if you want to call it a rock and roll relationship. But if you're in the music business and you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it's going to be one hell of a time keeping it together.
I see.
And there's a line in there, 2 different fires, but we'll never burn the same. And that's usually what happens, because music becomes a bigger part of your life, the harder it is for them to understand. Like, all the things you got to do.
And I noticed on the credits on the single there, John Ricci's name came up, and I was just wondering how he helped you guys out.
He helps so constantly. We're always running into him, and like, he's been on a major tour. He's had 3 albums released on, you know, so he's just full of information, and we just sit around and we talk, and you learn from that.
I see.
So we thank him for it.
And tell me a little bit more about your video. When's that going to be aired?
We should be done that by the end of March. We're going to be shooting it within the next couple of weeks or so.
And which song is that going to be?
It's going to be for Looking Like Dynamite.
And what kind of shots? Is it going to be a live video in concert, or is it?
It's going to be a live video in concert with a small intro piece with Antix flavoring.
Tell me a little bit about Mike Lean, your drummer. Where'd you pick him up?
Where'd we pick him up? Out of a ditch. I just kind of picked him up like this and said, hey, play drums? No. Mike I've known for a long time. I've played with in bands with him before. And that band finally broke up. We all went our separate ways, but we stayed in constant communication with each other. Like, we'd phone each other up, we'd go out, and he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing. And then when I started to put Antix together, I approached him. I said, listen, I have a feeling this is going to be good. You want to be a part of it? And he said, sure.
And yourself, have you ever had any type of vocal training or any sort like that?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. And did it help you at all, or?
It helped me out immensely. No, it helped me out a lot. There's a lot. If you sing right now and you think you're a good singer, should I speak to the camera on this one? If you think you're a good singer out there, go take some vocal lessons and you'll see how much more you'll improve. If you have a good voice and you believe it, but you should look into how to sing, because you'll be amazed at what you're doing wrong.
And if you can tell me a little bit about your bass player, J.C. Crochet. Is that how you pronounce it, Crochet? Crozier?
Most people just call him, who's that fag? No, no, it's J.C. Crozet. And we came across him, well, Mike actually came across him. Mike was hitchhiking, and J.C. was coming along, and he picked him up. They started talking about music. I'm a drummer, I'm a bass player. Hey, we're looking for a bass player. What's your number? And he came out, he auditioned,
and he fit the attitude.
Yeah. The attitude, yeah, very important. Attitude is very, very important.
Brian, can you tell me a little bit about Jimmy, like how he keeps you guys going, keeps you on your feet?
Basically, he's the boss, and whatever he says, we listen and
say the right things.
No, okay. Basically, he's the boss, and we all listen to what he says, and you know, I believe strongly in him.
And you get along on stage, does he?
Oh yeah, there's no problem.
No problem.
Yeah. I told him I only had 20 bucks. No, I don't like to be referred to as the boss. If he wants to call me the boss, sure, he can call me the boss, but I don't like to be referred to as the boss. I'm just kind of the
leader.
Run the show.
The leader. Like, everybody kind of calls me and says,
is it all right if we do this?
Yeah, what time are we supposed to show up? Not is it all right to do this, but I just kind of like control it.
And how many times do you guys practice in a week?
I'd say about 3.
3 times a week.
3 times a week.
And we're constantly meeting, especially with the new album coming up and the new video. There's so many details to take care of.
And you have a fan club. Do you get some of fan mail from your Antix Vice Squad?
Yeah.
I like that.
And the Vice Squad, by the way, is if you don't have a good time, this Vice Squad comes out and busts you for not having a good time.
It's a pleasure having you on Soundcheck, guys. Good luck in the future.
Thanks a lot.
There's lots of things on the entertainment scene, so here's the entertainment calendar for you. At Barrymore's on February 11th, we've got Wild Child. On February 12th, John Mayall and his Blues Breakers. On the 20th, it's the Forgotten Rebels. On February 22nd, it's Tupelo Chain Sex. And at Grand Central on the 11th through to the 13th, it's Liberty Silver. On the 17th, Carol Pope. At the Downstairs Club on February 12th, it's Fat Man Waving. At the Rainbow on the 10th, it's Bernard Allison. The 26th and the 27th, it's the Fabulous Clichés. And at the Civic Center, it's Sting on February 11th, and on February 14th, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre with Alice Cooper and Motorhead. Crackers 2 on the 11th through to the 13th. The Editors on the 14th. It's Cruise Control at